Hey everyone, how's it going? Let's start recording a video. Today I'm going to show you this checkmate. How to deliver checkmate with a knight and a bishop and a king against a king. And look, it's going to be a really straightforward explanation. A really quick explanation, something I've never seen anyone explain to you on YouTube. Alright? So I'm going to show you now the whole method I use, how simple it is to learn step by step so you can get to the final result and pull it off quickly without any trouble. Alright? So I'll show you step by step how to do it, and you'll be able to execute this checkmate, which is considered one of the most difficult checkmates in chess, okay? So look, the first step you're going to take is to bring your king to the center, right? That's the first step. Move your king as much as you can toward the center, so go ahead and do this first step, okay? The second step now is to identify where you're going to deliver the checkmate, because the checkmate happens on one of the edges of the board, either this one or that one, this one over here, right? Which now you're going to look at your bishop. What color is your bishop? Your bishop is on black squares. So you're going to deliver checkmate here or here. Oops, here, right? Because we're going to bring him down here, and then we'll checkmate him on this diagonal. All right, everyone? So now we're going to take the next step, which is to move the bishop, to try to trap him here, to push him back, and then to this point here, where the checkmate will happen. The king will try to escape, but you can relax, because whichever way he goes over here, he's actually helping you win the game. So he'll always be trying to come over to this side, all right? So look, you move your king. Every time he moves his king down, you go and move your king, bringing it closer to his. You're going to try to drive him to this corner here, to the last rank, and then we'll force him over to this other corner. Look, so he's playing with the king, trying to hide it over here, because this is the farthest rank where he can make things harder for you, right? Because we have 50 moves to deliver this checkmate. So he's going to try to put it as far away as possible from that diagonal. And now comes the first part, which is this position here. This position here is the knight on the third rank, see? It's just 1, 2, 3. On the third square, the king is in front of it giving support, and the bishop is back here. Why do you need to set up this position? Because he'll already be on the last rank. And here you did the following. You gave the check and you trapped. Look at the squares you've trapped here. He's now trapped on these squares, and you're going to force him to come over here, right? So now this is the first position. Remember this one, the third square. Look, 1, 2, 3. You place the knight, the king in front of it, and the bishop here. Now you're getting ready to start pushing him over here onto the right diagonal to deliver checkmate. All right? What happens next? The knight. Now let's memorize the position of each piece. The knight is going to make this move here. Look, 2, so you can take the W-shaped move to get it to the right square, to bring the king to the right square. The king is going to make this move here. Look. All right? To push the king to the square where he needs to go to deliver checkmate. And the bishop has 3 functions. One of them is to waste time when all the pieces are already in the right place. The bishop makes a waiting move. He moves anywhere just to wait for the king to reach the square you want, and then you make the right move. His other function is to block squares. He's going to block some squares, right? And the bishop's third function is to give check when you need to check the king to push him to a square you want, okay? So based on that, look, the king is now forced to come to this square, okay? And now what are you going to do? The bishop's first function, which is to waste time. Why? You already took these houses here. Look from him. Right? So now he's going to be forced to come here. So you waste time for him to move away, and now you come and block off this square here, see? So that only these 2 squares are left. See? Only these 2 blocked off, okay? He moved away. Now let's execute the knight's first move. Look, we've executed the knight's first move, right? Just like I told you before. Then you say, look, what if he forces me to come here to this house? If he tries to force it, he's actually helping you. Why is that? Let me show you here. Look, if he makes this move here, look, see, you'll be able to corner him more easily because you kind of forced him. You took this square away from him, so it actually makes things harder for him. He'll be helping you with that move. So every time he tries to force it at this point, you just check with the knight, and since you took this square away from him, he's actually helping you by moving more quickly to the right, right? So look at this. Now the right move for him is to go to this square over here, because this square will take a little longer. So what do you do now? You've already brought the knight. Now what do? Bring the king. All right? Now he's going to try to escape, see? But now you might think, wow, he escaped. Everything was planned out perfectly. Everything was set. Just because, oh, the horse, remember the horse I told you about? Make the knight move just like I showed you. I brought the horse here. Let's analyze it. Now everything's under control because you've blocked off these two squares here. Your king is protecting this area, and the knight is here, right? I'll show you which squares are blocked. And look, which square can the king escape to? For now, only this one over here. So now it's time for the bishop to play its role. Remember what I told you? The bishop is going to block off this square here. Look, the king tried to escape, trying to come over here, and now it's blocked. See, there's nowhere for the king to go, nowhere for him to go because he's completely surrounded. He's going to end up trapped exactly where we want to take him, right? So he's going to try to hold out a little longer, but you close him in a bit more. He tries to resist a little more, and now you've blocked off this square, this one over here, see? See how we've now closed off everything for him? Great, and now we can go back to the normal moves. Look, we're back to that initial position, folks, which is the correct position. It looked like he was going to escape, but if you remember this, you'll be able to close him in as usual. Just carry out the moves I told you about. The knight making a W, the king coming along the side, and the bishop closing in and giving check. And letting time pass. It seems like he's going to get away, doesn't it? But it's just like that time when the bishop was here, see? You're going to let some time pass. The king will move out. Look, I've blocked off this square here. Now he's being forced to go to the other side again. Look, everyone. And now it's the same thing. The knight moves in a W. If he comes here, he'll actually be helping you. So what happened? You come in and give check again. Look, this is blocked. Everything's blocked, see? He comes to this side and you bring it back again. Now the knight comes in, the king sticks close, and now you check with the bishop. See how everything is blocked here? And now he will only have these houses here. Let's be very careful not to end up with a stalemate. And what do? You move the knight away, the king comes over, now he's limited to these two squares, and this is the position where I like to trap him, which is to put the bishop here next to the king, because then he'll only have these two squares left, see? Do it like this. There are faster ways to checkmate, but I like this one. Look, you keep the king next to the bishop here, so he'll only have these two squares, and he'll just keep moving back and forth here. And now you set yourself up to deliver checkmate. You play here, check and checkmate. Alright? See how simple it was, guys, to deliver this checkmate with the knight and bishop, right? If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. It really helps me keep making these videos for you. And subscribe to the channel, it's really important. There aren't many subscribers yet, but I want a lot of people to discover the channel so I can bring you even more chess videos. Who knows, maybe one day I'll show my face to you while playing some games or doing live streams. So I hope the channel can grow a lot. Alright everyone, the other tip I'm going to give you is this. There's a way for you to trap the king more easily if he's trying to escape. Trying to get away from checkmate, right? When the king is moving around looking for any possible way to avoid being trapped, it can be tricky to keep up. What you can do is always keep placing your pieces here. Look, and keep bringing them in, step by step. Each time you move your pieces closer, you make it harder for the king to find a safe square. By steadily advancing, you limit the king's options and make it much more difficult for him to escape from checkmate. Yeah, one way would be to place the knight here like this, see? If he's escaping too much, you put the bishop on one color and the knight jumps to another square and covers another, because you'll be closing off more squares. Let me see if I can show you this here. Guys, just a minute. Guys, it would be this position here, look, see? This position is one where you can, trap the king. Why? You trap him here, look. I'll show you all the squares that are blocked and he can't get out. So in this position, you can push his king to the edge of the board. You can force him. How does it work? Of course, you bring your king to the center and all that, but if that's getting too complicated, and sometimes if you're in a hurry or short on time, you can think about this. Look, you leave the knight, skip a square, and the bishop on the same color as the knight. Why? And the king here, blocking this other escape route. Why? You see, the knight covers these two squares, the bishop covers this one here, so he's trapped here. And here, this one's blocked, and the king blocks this one. So you can get him here like this to set up that position we need, which is to bring the king over here and have the knight jump to this square here, right? He'll have to find a way to come to this house, right? We're setting up that position. So sometimes you might set this up and quickly think, I don't know how to do this. First, set this up, and then you can rearrange things to push him over here first, and only then bring him to this square over here. Alright everyone, that's what I wanted to show you. Thank you very much, take care. Leave a like and let me know what you thought of this video. Thanks a lot, take care.